So obviously dog-to-dog socialisation is another important part of our puppy's socialisation picture, but just remember it is only a small part of that full socialisation picture. There is a right way to do it and there is a wrong way to do it, just as with all socialisation activities. So you might hear some well-meaning people say, yep, you got to get your puppy out and you've got to get them to meet as many different dogs as possible. Now that can certainly come with some downsides. So if you've got the happy-go-lucky puppy that's really friendly, it's not timid or fearful around other dogs, it's nice and confident, then that's fantastic. What we want to be teaching that puppy is some manners around other dogs. So it's really rude behavior to get overexcited and barking and jumping and lunging, or rushing at other dogs, at their faces and jumping all over them. So that isn't what we would call a well-socialized dog. We would call that a rude, bad-mannered dog. And other dogs will perceive your puppy as rude and bad-mannered as well. Now, when our puppies are behaving like that, and they're rushing at other dogs and jumping all over them and so on, then your puppy isn't taking the time to actually read the body language of the other dog. That other dog's body language might be showing that they're feeling really scared and timid, or their body language might be saying, hey, back off because I'm not in the mood for someone like you right now. Or back off because I'm going to eat you if you don't slow down. So your puppy's missing all that vital communication, and that's one of the big reasons why we don't want to be encouraging that rude behavior and that rushing at other dogs. A well-socialized dog, a well-socialized puppy is a dog or a puppy that remains relaxed and calm and relatively neutral around the presence of other dogs. So that's why in our puppy preschool classes, the first part of our dog-to-dog socialization is just having the puppies hanging around the class with their owners on lead, having no interaction with the other dogs. So it's vital that our puppies learn to be calm and relaxed in the presence of other dogs. If our puppies are getting excited and barking or lunging and can't sit still because they need to play with the other puppies, then if we allow that puppy to go and be rewarded by getting to play with the other puppies or the other dogs, then all we're doing is rewarding and reinforcing the barking, the lunging and that overexcitement when we see other dogs. So then when you're out and about and throughout the rest of your dog's life, when they see other dogs, your dog's going to start to bark, lunge, get excited, pull you towards the other dogs, because that's the behavior that you started reinforcing when they were a young puppy. Another thing I hear people say is, oh, just let him meet the other puppy and then he'll settle down. Well, that's all well and good, but guess what? In the real world, your puppy isn't going to be able to meet every single dog that it sees to settle it down. So you're still going to be left with a big problem. The puppy has to learn that the only way I'm going to get to greet or meet that other dog or play with that other dog or puppy is when I'm calm and relaxed. The other thing is when dogs are meeting in that over-aroused, overexcited sort of state of mind, tensions are already elevated. And so that play and that game is more likely to flick into aggression and irritability a lot quicker than it would if the puppies were nice and calm. And if you've got two calm, relaxed puppies meeting and greeting and engaging in play, then the chances of that interaction going badly are much, much lower. So that over-arousal can spill into aggression. So another reason why we want to be teaching our puppies to be calm and relaxed around other dogs. Dog parks are one of the worst places to socialise your young puppy, especially in their critical socialisation period and in their first 6 months of life. So you don't know the other dogs in that park. You also have no control over the other dogs in the park and their behaviour. And unfortunately, quite often, the other dog's owner has no control over their dog either. So when you're taking your puppy to an off-leash dog park to run around with unknown dogs, you are putting your puppy at risk of getting hurt or getting injured. You're also putting your puppy at risk from maybe turning from a happy, confident, dog-friendly dog into a timid, scared, and potentially dog-aggressive dog. Because if that puppy, especially in their early months, has bad and negative experiences with other dogs, and that could be that they do get attacked in the park, or it could be as subtle as just them getting bullied, getting chased, especially if you find that your puppy seems to always be running around and hiding behind your legs to hide and get away from the other dogs, or if you notice that your puppy is often rolled over on their back with the other dogs on top of them. That's not a happy puppy. That puppy isn't having good experiences at that park. And again, those experiences can start to lead to fear there around other dogs. So I've had plenty of dog owners come to me for private lessons because all of a sudden their dog has become aggressive at the dog park. Not once when I've taken a behavioural history of those dogs has one of those dogs actually suddenly become aggressive. When we look at the body language and the experiences that those dogs were having at the dog park before they started to become aggressive, there were warning signs for a very long time there that that dog was not happy at the park, that dog was getting picked on, and maybe they had been attacked numerous times. And that stress eventually builds up until the dog has enough and starts to try the aggression to make the other dog stop and leave them alone. So it's so important that, as with everything, we're always understanding our dog's body language, that you learn to read what your dog is telling you through their body language. Unfortunately, people do read their body language, but they don't see the body language as a problem until they start seeing outward aggression. Your dog will usually give you a lot of warning through their body language before they move into aggression. So it's vital that you listen to your dog and that through that your dog will start to learn to trust you when they start to realize that you're understanding them, that you're reading them, and that you will do what's right for them. So if I see my dogs playing with other dogs and I see they're starting to get bullied, I see that they're on their back all the time, I see that they're trying to hide behind me, or I see that they're sort of cowering every time and stiffening every time another dog comes up to them, I'm going to say, hey, buddy, I realize you're not comfortable with this. Let's get out of here. So be an advocate for your dog because you're the only one that will. Now, if you do have the dog that is timid around other dogs, they may be sort of barking in more of a fearful way. So you might notice that your dog's ears go down, their body may crouch, they might have tail between their legs, they might sort of stiffen when other dogs approach, or your dog's constantly trying to run away from the other dogs, then it's really, really important that you are not forcing your puppy to be directly meeting other dogs. The more you do that, the more you're going to reinforce their fear. So for those timid puppies or those fearful puppies, you're going to start their socialization from a distance. We just simply want to start creating positive associations towards other dogs. And this is where you're going to use that SMT activity. You're going to use your reward marker, the yes or your clicker. So when you're out and about, anytime your dog or your puppy sees another dog, you're going to mark yes, give them a food reward and keep moving. Yes and reward. Yes and reward. So every time your puppy turns and is looking at another dog calmly before they start to bark or shake or try to run away, so as soon as they turn and see that other dog, you're going to mark yes, and then you're going to give them a reward. They look back, yes. and you give them a reward again.
Yes. Yes.
So your marker trained puppy is going to understand they're getting the food reward for whatever behaviour they were doing when they heard their marker. So in this case, the behaviour that your puppy is doing when they hear the yes is looking calmly at another dog. So you're going to start to reinforce the behaviour in your puppy of looking calmly and feeling calm when they see another dog. And we're just going to go out, and if you see 3 other dogs on your trip and your puppy remains calm, your puppy gets marked and rewarded for looking calmly at other dogs, then that is a hugely successful puppy socialisation session that you've just done with your puppy. As you continue the SMT game, marking and rewarding when your puppy is looking calmly at other dogs from a distance, you'll start to notice that that distance will start to get smaller and smaller, where your puppy can look at other dogs and they still remain relaxed without sort of getting scared if you do this activity correctly. So all of a sudden now we're starting to be able to walk past another dog within a couple meters on lead without our puppy reacting. Once our puppy can approach other dogs calmly without any fear or aggression, that's when we can start to have some direct interaction. So manners for dogs is meeting nose to tail. So you'll often see dogs with good manners. They'll circle each other with their noses to the other dog's tail. That bottom sniffing is kind of like their handshake. That's where they can smell where that other dog's been today, who else they've seen, how they're feeling. So this is where they can help pick up whether the dog that they're meeting is feeling scared and nervous, whether that dog is feeling stressed and cranky, or whether that dog is feeling relaxed and happy. So it's a lot of vital information that comes from that that bottom sniff there. So helping our puppy to approach the other dog or the other puppy from the rear end, having a sniff, we swap over, let the other dog or puppy have a sniff of your puppy, and from there they can sort of decide whether or not they want to go face to face for any interaction or whether they want to have nothing to do with each other. With a really timid puppy, the first few greetings, you might not even go face to face at all. You might just start having bottom sniffs. It's really important here that we get our puppies, first of all, used to being handled as well and just being held. So if you can hold one dog up in that standing position, nice and still, so that the puppy that's having a sniff can come to the rear end and have a sniff, and then you hold your puppy nice and still to allow the other dog to come and have a sniff of your puppy without letting them come to the front end of the dog that they're sniffing. That then helps to foster that behaviour and that interaction. Now, when the 2 dogs meet face to face, and again, if you've got a dog that tends to go quite quickly into snapping or growling, you might literally just let them have a sniff and then, okay, let's split up. Let the dogs diffuse a little bit, and then you might bring them back together once they're calm, sniff, good, okay, and let's separate again. So rather than letting them together, sniff, what can happen for some of the puppies is if they're feeling a little bit unsure still, that face-to-face interaction is going to start building pressure and tension in them. And if that interaction continues, they sniff, play, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, it's too much, and they snap or growl or attack or run away. So you want to avoid that from happening, because every time you push the interaction until that happens, again, the puppy's learning that aggression is working. Aggression will help create the space away from other dogs. So we want to teach the puppy, yeah, we have a little bit of interaction, but if you're feeling uncomfortable, you can move away instead of using the aggression. So we're just going to let them sniff, sniff, sniff. Then we will happily and in a relaxed manner encourage our dogs to separate. Once we separate them, that just allows any tension that may have built up to diffuse and go away. And then if they'd like to interact again, we can allow them to interact again for another few seconds. Yay! And let's just separate again, and we can let any built up tension diffuse. So you might do that 2 or 3 times and then move on and finish the interaction. So it's important that you build those interactions really, really slowly rather than forcing the dog-to-dog interactions. Obviously, it will depend on your puppy and how severe their fear is. Some dogs just need a little bit of time, a bit of a sniff, hang out a little bit together, seeing each other, being rewarded, and then, you know, maybe within 10-15 minutes, they're fine to run around together. But other dogs, it will be a much longer process, and it can even take months to help build that confidence around other dogs. But basically the rule is, unless my dog is calm, 4 feet on the ground, we do not get the reward of meeting and playing with another dog. Calm, relaxed behavior gets the reward of play with other dogs. So as much as possible, we want to keep tension off the older dog's lead, but obviously we're going to use that lead just to stop the older dog from taking chase after the puppy until the puppy's feeling a bit more confident and can cope with being chased. While it's just walking around like this, try not to have any tension on the lead. Otherwise, if you've got tension on the lead the whole time, that's going to create frustration in the dog that's on the lead, and then that can lead to aggression. So the lead's just there for safety when I need it, to block the older dog from chasing, or if he gets too rough. So you can see the puppy's getting more and more confident there now. Doing a nice bottom sniffing there before, which is good. So we missed videoing the first bit of their interaction, but Sparky, the black and white Foxy, he was very, very excited about the new puppy, so we needed to use that lead just to help hold him back a bit.
Oh.
So nice, this is beautiful manners, having a nice little bottom sniff there, which is good. That nose to tail investigation, you really want to encourage that. The puppy's starting to tease Sparky. You can see the puppy's really actively trying to get Sparky to engage and play. So I might actually let Sparky off the lead now that Sparky's behaviour has settled a lot. He's in a much better state of mind for playing. And Echo clearly wants to play.
And they're off.
Puppies, over here.
Echo! Hey, blah, 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 blah. There we go.
Good job.
Goodbye.
So I've just decided to capture and reward all this behaviour. So Sparky, he's got another dog to play with, but he's sort of alternating between playing with the other dog, yes, and actually coming to me and giving me attention. So I'm not going to ignore that beautiful behaviour. I'm going to mark and reward that, yes.
Good boys.
Yeah, so you can see Echo having a really nice sniff, yes, an investigation. Beautiful. off for another play. They're doing their sniffing, circling. That's great. So even though there's another dog there, I want my dog to still think I'm more important than the other dog. So just, yes, taking those opportunities to mark and reward when your dog takes their attention away from the other dog and comes to you. So this is lovely. We've now got 2 dogs that are off the lead. This is the first time they've met. They're not going crazy. They're having some playtime, but you can see they're not in that really overexcited, out of control. They can hang out with each other, they can be relaxed and calm, they can have a bit of play and interaction, and then they're happy to wander around and do their own thing. No one's being rude. But if I would have let Sparky off the lead the first second they met, their play and their interactions would have been a very, very different story. The puppy probably would have ended up getting scared and probably wouldn't be feeling as confident as it now is, because we settled Sparky down first and got Sparky into that calmer state of mind before we let him loose on the puppy. So now they're having a bit of playtime again. Now I'm just going to watch this behaviour. If the puppy keeps trying to run away from Sparky and Sparky doesn't give up, then I will stop Sparky's play. But you can see they've stopped themselves, they've kept their play under control. Sparky hasn't kept harassing the puppy. So it's very important that with the play that one of the dogs doesn't become a bully.